Well, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Can you hear me okay out there? Well, my talk this morning is entitled A Life of Character.
Which kind?
Which character?
Which character?
Right? And our theme for this month, is integrity. Integrity. It's not just talking the talk, it's walking the walk. Dancing the dance as a character. And what I learned from putting in the sound system was that this place has character. And everything has character, right? Everything has a kind of a way that it works, or a modality to it. And each one of us is like the thumbprint of God itself. Literally, we have our own thumbprint, but you have your own characteristics. You have your own way of doing things. There is nobody like you. There is nobody like you, honey, my mom used to say. There is nobody like you. I thought I was just being special. But think about it. Think about the characteristics that only you can bring. You have your own favorite color. Now, somebody else may share that favorite color, but you see it on different things than nobody else would. You envision your favorite color, and maybe you have several. I do. I have several favorite colors. Depends on what I'm looking at or what I'm dreaming of. But you get to customize it in your own specific way. You get to make it your own. If you're painting your Lamborghini, or your bass guitar, or your house, or what it is you're painting in your life, maybe you have a different color. And maybe you use a different characteristic to express yourself in different situations. Well, as we look at spiritual living as integrity through the month of December, we embrace the quality of being honest and strive to let our inner convictions match our outer actions. We express wholeness, honesty, and fairness in our relationships and activities. Integrity is choosing courage over comfort. Courage over comfort. Choosing what is right over what is fun, fast, or easy. And choosing to practice our values rather than simply professing them. And it takes character to speak the truth sometimes, doesn't it? Sometimes it takes all the character that you are to stand in that moment of truth. You know, it's easy to kind of just blend in and status quo and be the color beige in a situation. It's not always the right thing to do, is to blend. Sometimes you have to stand out. So, as I was thinking about this thing called character, and I thought about times in my life where I had blended in, because it was just easier than being, especially in school, you know, you just want to become a chameleon. Because if you stand out, you are going to be pointed out, you are going to be rooted out, and in my case, bullied or made fun of in certain ways that were not always favorable to me and my being. I was smaller, I was shorter, and I wasn't the first kid to get picked at kickball. You know, I was usually one of the last ones to get picked. But I had a talent in that I could run fast, because I knew how to bait my brother I'm the youngest of four, and my brother's much taller than I am. And I knew what buttons to push. I was his worst characteristic. And so he would chase me. So I learned how to run very fast because he was going to kick myself into the next week if I didn't run fast enough. So I learned how to run by having bad character, because I would say some terrible things to my brother. And John, if you're watching the video, I love you, and I'm sorry, and we'll talk more about that later. But he knows I love him, and he knows that we have a great relationship now, but it took some time. So through that, I learned how to run fast, and I didn't grow any taller, but in junior high school, they were looking for kids to be on the track team. And I could run fast. That was my one thing I could do. You know, I couldn't spell very well. I wasn't the fastest reader. I was a remedial student, they called it. Back then they didn't know what dyslexia really was. They were still figuring it out. And I was suffering from that. You know, I was seeing saw and reading was in some of this stuff. That was part of my character. You know, some people see it as a challenge, but I see it as a creative way of making sense of stories. Right? And they're finding out now that children that have certain challenges like ADD or something like that, it's actually an asset in other ways. It's not a challenge, it's an asset. It's all in how you see their character. Right? If you see it as a deficiency, it will express as one. That's how character works. If you see it as a challenge, the universe says, yes, let me show you the challenge of it. But if you see it as an asset, the universe will say, yes, let me show you the asset of your character. So I went on to be the fastest, or the second fastest in my class in junior high school, which was I was in the Junior Olympics and won 3 first places. I was like, I made it. I'm somebody now. Of course, I was on the B team. And the fastest guy was on the A team because the coach wanted to win both A and B teams. So instead of running second to someone all the time, I was first on the B team, which made me, sense like, I was class A in something in winning on the B team. I don't know how that works exactly. But you know what? It didn't matter because I was part of something. I got to be part of something. You know, when you're part of something bigger than yourself, it wasn't about me winning, it was about the team. The 440 relay, everybody running their part as best they could. So, I want to bring up character in life. So, as we see characters, I'd like to introduce you to this thing called The Wizard of Oz. Remember that beautiful movie? What are the characters in that movie? They had the Cowardly Lion, right? They had the Tin Man, Scarecrow, and Toto and Dorothy, of course.
And the witches.
The witches. Are you a good witch or a bad witch? We can ask ourselves that today, in politics, right? But what about the wizard? Do you identify with the wizard ever? I want to be the wizard, right? I know, but he turned out to be real. Toto was the revealer of truth. Toto was always the one that would go around the back and, go, hey, the Tin Man's alive, or Scarecrow can talk, or pulled the curtain back on the wizard, right? What about the flying monkeys? Anybody identify with the flying monkeys? So what are you in your life? Or if you can see what roles people play. I know that when my family gets together for the holidays, we fall back into an archetypical, energetic. What is your archetype? Do you fall back into, the one that sits and eats all the stuffing and drinks all the champagne before the party even starts, right? Just to numb yourself so that when people start saying, your hair's too long and you've gained some weight, that it won't bother you? This is just to identify that we play roles. We fit into certain characters. We have characteristics. But as I started to grow older and identify myself as certain characters, I realized I didn't want to play that character anymore. I realized that I didn't fit into that archetype exactly anymore. That I had several different attributes of character that I wanted to play. What is the character that you have always wanted to play? That you have always strived to play? And what does that represent in your life? What does it mean to you to have that character? Like, if you are the cowardly lion, how does it serve you to not be courageous? To fall behind, to not speak your word. And I'm not saying this to call anybody out, because we've all played all the parts, haven't we, in certain situations? In certain situations at work, haven't you been the scarecrow that knew exactly what the answer was? Or in relationship, haven't you been the one that needed a heart? I mean, we've all played the different parts. It's just interesting. Next time you watch The Wizard of Oz, you might look at it a little differently. And did you know that if you play Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon at exactly the right point when it's starting, they go together? Okay, that's a whole other talk. That's a whole other talk. So, it's true, though. It does work. It does work. But you have to start them at exactly the right time, when the lion roars in the 20th Century Fox. Okay. Well, sometimes in our life, and I am inviting you during this season of holy days, of Christmas, of the light. It's about the light, really. It's about the beauty of the light. Whatever tradition that you choose, it's about knowledge. It's about expanding your awareness, right? And I've noticed that every couple weeks or months, I run into a person that has a special character. And we see them out there in the world. Sometimes they can even be like a panhandler or something like that. And they'll have this glow about them. I know that, it was a cashier at Walmart that was so nice. This lady was so kind, and she serves people constantly, the people that are on their phone and rude, and she keeps her smile and her dignity and her, you could just tell that she has class in her life while she's serving all of us at an incredible level. She doesn't mind that people are still on their phones. She gives each person the same love. But I want you to just be aware of these certain people that have this glow. And it's not just during this season. They're out there all the time. Maybe you're one of them. Actually, we are all one of them. Because if you think about God, and if God is everything that is in everyone, there's not a spot where God is not. And God's thumbprint is each one of us. Each one of us is the divinity expressing itself. You are a dream that God is having. And you can only do it your way. You can't borrow somebody else's. I used to want to do that, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. Can't I just be somebody else? It's just much easier. But it was much harder to try to fit into somebody else's likes and dislikes. You have to be your own character. But I invite you to look for those people, those gems that stand out in such a way that you go, wow, God is right there. And just take a moment with them. Just take a moment in the busy and the bustle of this season that we call the holy days, or whatever you'd like to call it. It's actually a time to remember who you are within that. Because the greatest gift that you can give anyone, I used to think about this. I was like, I want to give God a gift for Christmas. I want to give God a gift. What is the biggest gift you can give God? Yourself. Success, succeeding, feeling at depth, being successful, being you. I used to, I still write music, and I was like, I'm going to write God a song for Christmas. And then I was like, well, maybe my song is my life. Maybe my song is my life. Can you sing your song as your life? It's so powerful to think of your life as a gift you're giving to the infinite. Because from my study of all that is, when we get to this thing called the other side, which is really this side of that, I used to ask my dad, what happens, Dad, when you die? What happens? And he goes, what if they say, how'd you do? How'd you do? How do you feel you did? I thought I was going to be judged and that all those bad things that I did were going to come down. No, but what if they just said, how do you feel you did? Wow, that made sense to me. Because I always feel like I'm doing 100%, but there are times that I feel I'm doing pretty good, don't you? Don't you? You've made it this far. You got up this morning and made it here. That's a really good thing. You have succeeded in life if you've made it here this morning. I'll tell you that right now. You are a winner. So, think about what your accomplishments have been. And I don't mean the accomplishments of buying a house or having 4 kids or whatever it is. Those are great things. But how do you feel about your spiritual advancement? You are progressing. You are doing it. You are making great strides. I'm here to tell you, you are an incredible expression of the energy of all that is. Each one of us is truly an angel. Truly, we are each other's keepers. Not that you keep the other person, but you encourage. We are cheerleaders for one another. We are the only people that can move us forward. Say, you're doing a great job. You're beautiful. You're incredible. There's nothing like you. My mom used to say, there's nothing like you. I say, Mom, I thought it was supposed to be different. Yeah, well, there's nothing like you, honey. Little did I know, she really meant that. There is nothing like me. But of course, she usually said that when I did something wrong. There's nothing like you. But over the years, I've gotten to understand what she meant. There is nothing like me. Not that I'm not better than any person in this room. but I'm better than I was yesterday. Because I'm striving to expand my spiritual consciousness. And if you made it into this room today, you're part of that. And there's a lot of people out there that didn't make it in this room today that have expanded. I'm not just saying because you're here, but being here is a sign that you care about your spiritual evolution. And whatever synagogue, church, mosque you go into, or anyone goes into, people are striving to be better. It may not always look that way. And I encourage you to take your remote and click the off button. When it gets like you don't feel that way, just turn that stuff off. Turn it off. Click it off. Or click the channel. You can always put on the travel channel. You know, don't watch Cops, don't watch that other stuff. Watch something that makes your spirit go, yes, there is a way. Because that's where the love that you are, that's where your character resides. So, in conclusion, I wanted to say something about being flawed. Because I have a flaw. I know. It's one thing you don't want to hear, that your minister has a flaw. Yes, well, we all do. We all do. But you know, when you get in the realm of diamonds, a flaw is called a facet. And facets make diamonds more valuable. And each one of us has a flaw that is actually a facet. You may have interpreted it as a flaw at one time, but if you were to look at it differently and see the character that it has given you that nobody else has, you will find the diamond in that lump of coal that somebody dropped in your stocking for Christmas. So I want you to know that it is our facets. It is our challenges that make us more holy. They make us more rounded. They make us more real. So when you find that your facets have come up before you, take a step back rather than saying something negative about yourself. Say something positive. You know, I would make a silly mistake and I would get very upset and say, oh, you silly blah, blah, blah. And when I realized that if I truly believe that there is only God here, that I was talking to God when I was talking to myself like that, I say, you are so blessed. You are such a blessing to this world. And if you can stay in that consciousness of seeing your challenges as facets that make you the unique individual blessing to this world that you are, you can change this world with your character. And so it is. Thank you. Well, it's time for prayer. So if you'd like just to close your eyes for a moment, let's follow our teaching and go within. So just taking a moment to create that space where what created each one of us resides. There is a power that is always on, that is always moving, that is always animating. I was just contemplating yesterday of what the energy inside my heart is that keeps that muscle pumping blood through my being. What is that power that keeps our heart beating? What is that power that allows us to take air in and out of our lungs? What is the power that allows the waves to crash on the beach and makes the tide go up and down and holds the planets in their orbits and grows the grass and leaves the trees and causes the snow to fall? What is that? What I know is that there is something powerful going on. And as each one of us puts into that thought form what we choose to be, do, and have, it takes that energetic and manifests it at the level of our belief. So as we look to healing and revealing and the gifts of this season, we look to our challenges and look at them as completely worked out. And as we see them rightly, as we transform our point of view of what our challenges really are into our assets, the energy that loves us, that created us, filters in to what we choose to be, do, and have. This is how manifestation works. So I may not know your particular challenge or situation is, but I know that the infinite does. And as we see it transformed, as we see it worked out to its completion, to the highest and best, I know that that draws that energy of the highest best into everything that we are. I'm so grateful for this time, this space, and this place, for the ability to think and to reason and to know. I give great thanks for the blessings, for the miracles of this thing called life, for the healings and the revealings of truth that we may not even know about right now that are happening for us in every moment. I'm just grateful that there is that power that does on our behalf and loves us so much. It has given each one of us the greatest gift that can be given, which is life, and the ability to reason and decide what is best for us individually. So I'm grateful for this time and the ability to think and reason. And I let go of this. I completely release this by placing these words directly into that law that knows what it's doing. And I allow it to do its great work, knowing it is perfect, whole, and complete, no matter what it may look like right now. I let go as I let God, the infinite source energy, great spirit, do its miraculous work. And for this, we give great thanks. And we affirm it together by saying, and so it is. Amen.